You are walking a road at night in rural Japan, late summer. The air is warm and still. Cicadas were singing when you set out, but they have stopped. You noticed the silence a few minutes ago and told yourself it was nothing. Then the ringing started. A thin, high-pitched tone inside your skull, like a struck bell that will not fade. It is not a sound you hear with your ears. It is a sound you feel behind your eyes. It is getting louder. You look up. The stars are going out. Not all of them. A section of sky above the road has turned black, and the blackness has a shape. It is tall. It is impossibly tall. And it moves. 2 points of sick green light ignite where eyes should be, 15 meters above the ground, and they find you. Then, from the darkness comes a sound, the grinding of teeth in a jaw you could stand inside. Rhythmic, patient, vast. The Gashadokuro, the rattling skull, a skeleton taller than the trees, assembled from the bones of hundreds of people who died and were never buried, never mourned, never named. It hunts at night, it cannot be killed with swords, and it is already looking at you. This is its story. Every culture has stories it tells after dark. Not fairy tales, not the ones for children, the other kind. The ones told in low voices, near the fire, when the night is too large and too quiet. Stories about what comes when you break the rules, when you wander too far, when you forget what your grandmother told you. These are those stories. Welcome to Folklore Reborn. This is Episode 2, the Gashadokuro. Japan in late summer is a country of obligation to its dead. Every August, during the festival called Obon, the spirits of ancestors return to visit the living. Families light welcoming fires at their doorsteps to guide the spirits home. They craft small horses from cucumbers and eggplants, spirit mounts for the returning dead. They dance, they feast, they set paper lanterns on rivers to light the way back when the visit is over. Obon is beautiful. It is also an acknowledgement of something the Japanese spiritual tradition takes very seriously, that the dead require attention. Proper funeral rites, cremation with sutra recitation, memorial tablets inscribed with names, offerings at family altars. These are not customs, they are obligations. When performed correctly, they transform the soul of the deceased from a potentially dangerous spirit into a peaceful ancestor, a protector who joins the family line. When they are neglected, when the body is left in a field, when no one speaks the dead person's name, when the rituals are forgotten, the spirit cannot cross over. It festers. It becomes what the Japanese call a yurei, a ghost, or worse, an onryo, a vengeful spirit capable of causing plague, earthquake, and fire. One neglected spirit can destroy a household. But what happens when hundreds are neglected at once? The oldest clue comes from a 9th century Buddhist text called the Nihon Ryoiki, the record of miraculous events in Japan. In one of its tales, a man traveling through Bingo province discovers a skull lying in a field at night. A bamboo shoot is growing from its eye socket. He removes the shoot. He offers the skull dried rice, and the skull speaks. It tells him the story of its own murder. In another tale, a skull on a road was saved from being trampled by a passerby who moved it to safety. The skull rewarded him. These stories establish something fundamental to Japanese spiritual thought. The bones of the dead are not inert. They retain awareness. They can suffer. They can speak. And they remember. This is the soil from which the Gashadokuro grows, but the creature has a more specific origin. It begins with a rebellion, and a daughter who refused to let her father's war end. In the year 939, a landowner named Taira no Masakado, led a rebellion against the imperial court. He was furious at aristocratic corruption while peasants starved. He captured provincial capitals across the Kanto plain and declared himself new emperor. For 59 days he ruled. Then his cousin defeated him in battle. Masakado was beheaded. His head was sent to Kyoto for display, and the soldiers who fought and died under his banner received no proper funeral rites. Their bodies were left on the Kanto plain, their spirits unquiet. Masakado became one of the 3 great vengeful spirits of Japan. His severed head is said to have flown from Kyoto back to the east. A mound marking its resting place still stands in the Otemachi business district of modern Tokyo, surrounded by glass towers. Corporate tenants who have disturbed the site report persistent misfortune. The mound has been maintained continuously for over 1,000 years because some spirits you do not stop honoring. But it is his daughter who matters most to this story. After her father's execution, she fled to a mountain temple, learned forbidden sorcery, took the name Takiyasha-hime, Princess of the Night Demon, and returned to her father's ruined fortress. Using her magic, she raised the dead. The bones of every soldier who had fallen in her father's rebellion rose at her command to continue his war. In the original stories, she summoned many skeletons of normal human size. But in 1844, an artist changed everything. The artist's name was Utagawa Kuniyoshi, and the image he created is one of the most famous works of Japanese art ever made. It is a woodblock print triptych called Takiyasha, the Witch and the Skeleton Spectre, and it hangs today in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. Kuniyoshi made a single, transformative choice. He replaced the many small skeletons of the literary source with one colossal skeleton, taller than the ruined palace, crashing through the walls with bony fingers the length of a man, while Takiyasha reads calmly from her spell scroll in the next room. The skeleton's anatomy is remarkably accurate, likely influenced by a translated Dutch medical text, but Kuniyoshi added extra ribs, subtly wrong, just enough to make the viewer's skin crawl without knowing why. That print circulated for over a century. Then, in 1966, a writer named Morihiro Saito gave the giant skeleton a name for the first time: Gashadokuro. From gachi-gachi, the sound of chattering teeth, and dokuro, skull, the rattling skull. The following year, the manga artist Shigeru Mizuki illustrated it, and from that point, the Gashadokuro entered the standard catalog of Japanese monsters, as if it had always been there. A modern creature, built on ancient foundations. The name is new, the fear is very old. To understand what creates a Gashadokuro, you must understand the scale of death that Japanese history contains. The Great Tenmei Famine lasted from 1782 to 1788. Volcanic eruptions and crop failure killed an estimated 130,000 people directly. The total population decline exceeded 900,000. In the hardest-hit regions, nearly half the population died. Corpses lay in the streets, eaten by animals, while the living were too weak or too few to bury them. Buddhist monks attempted mass sutra recitations. It was not enough. The scale of death overwhelmed every institution designed to manage its spiritual consequences. This is the world that creates a Gashadokuro. Not a single murder. A catastrophe so complete that the dead outnumber the living's ability to honor them. The bones accumulate. Individual identities dissolve. What remains is a collective fury that has no single name, no single face, no single grievance that can be addressed. The spirits merge into something too large for any shrine to contain, and it hunts. It emerges during the hour of the ox, between 1 and 3 in the morning, when the boundary between the living and the dead is thinnest. It stalks the roads. It seizes lone travelers in one massive skeletal hand. It bites off the head. It drinks the blood. Then it discards the body and moves on. It persists until the accumulated rage burns itself out. That can take years, or decades. It cannot be killed. It cannot be reasoned with. It is not a personality. It is a mechanism of consequence. So, what is the Gashadokuro really about? It is about what happens when so many people die that no one is left to bury them. When death occurs at a scale that overwhelms every ritual, every institution, every human capacity for grief. The dead become anonymous, and anonymous dead become collectively furious. The horror is not the skeleton. The horror is the society that produced the skeleton, the war that was fought for nothing, the famine that could have been prevented, the bodies left in fields because there were simply too many to carry, the names that were never recorded, the rites that were never performed, the obligation to the dead that was broken not by cruelty, but by the sheer weight of catastrophe. The Gashadokuro is not evil. It is consequence. And consequence is far more frightening than evil, because evil can be defeated. Consequence can only be endured. The obligations that the Gashadokuro enforces are not dead traditions. Every August, millions of people across Japan observe Obon. They welcome their ancestors home with fire, feed them, dance for them, and light their way back. They make offerings to the Muen Botoke, the unconnected dead, the spirits who have no family to receive them. Obon acknowledges what the Gashadokuro punishes, that every dead person deserves to be remembered. In Tokyo's Otemachi district, Masakado's head mound still stands among the skyscrapers. Office workers leave flowers and coins. No developer has built over it in 1,000 years. Some lessons outlast the cities that learn them. And in the coastal town of Sakaiminato, an entire street is lined with bronze statues of yokai, including the Gashadokuro. Children pose for photographs with them. Tourists buy postcards. The monsters are not hidden or feared. They are honored. Because in Japan, the things that frighten you are often the things that teach you something you need to know. Some lessons are taller than the trees. Thanks for listening. Follow Folklore Reborn wherever you get your podcasts, and share it if you think these stories deserve to be heard. Every legend we tell here lives as a tabletop adventure you can play. Links are in the description. Next time, in the villages of the Iwe people of West Africa, there is a creature that hunts in the shape of a firefly. It glows in the dark, it slips through any crack, and if you catch it in your hands, it becomes something far worse. The old stories were warnings.